Hey all, thanks for taking a break in your Netflix binge watching quarantine time for a little math. All right, 13.4 double and half angles, really similar to 13.3. We just have a new set of formulas to use. So we'll just dive right into things and get going. Again, very similar to yesterday's lesson. Yeah, so that's all I got right now. So new formulas, obviously up there along the top. First recommendation is always draw a picture so you can kind of visualize what we're doing. When we look at this problem, between pi halves and pi, that's an angle in quadrant 2. So if I draw that out quick, I know the sine value is 4/5, which means my missing side length is -3. I want to find the sine of 2 theta. My formula is up there along the top. So sine of 2 theta is 2 sine theta cosine theta. So I'm going to refer to my triangle. The sine value is given to us in the problem. The cosine, I need to refer to my triangle, which is -3/5. 2 times 4 times -3 is -24. 5 times 5 is 25. So your exact value of the sine of 2 theta based on that information is -24/25. If we do the same thing, we're actually going to use the same picture. If you notice, we're still in quadrant 2. Our sine value is still 4/5. So I'm not going to redraw this picture, but we're using the same one for this problem as well. When you look at the tangent formula, the tangent of 2 theta is right up here, 2 tangent theta over 1 minus tangent squared theta. Then we just refer to our triangle. If you notice, our tangent value is -4/3. We subtract on the bottom, so we have 1 minus -4/3 squared. Then we want to simplify from there. -4/3 squared is 16/9. So if we're kind of going through this, thinking about things, on top we have -8/3. On the bottom, 1 minus 16/9 is -7/9. Dividing by a fraction is easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. So we wind up with 24/7 as our final answer. Again, same thing as before. If we were given a unit circle value, obviously that would make things a little bit easier. But whenever we are not given a unit circle value, always draw a picture to kind of set up your trig ratios. Moving right along into half angle identities. These are the ones that are, slightly tricky on the day, but really not too terrible. So as we look at this problem, you notice we are in quadrant 3. So I'm going to do a quick sketch of my triangle. Sine value is -4/5. My missing side length is -3. And then what we do is we want to figure out what the cosine of pi halves is. So cosine, it's going to be plus or minus 1 plus the cosine of theta over 2. Then again, we use our picture. The cosine based on our picture is -3/5. So when we simplify this, 1 minus 3/5 is 2/5, which means we get plus or minus square root of 1/5, which is plus or minus square root of 5/5. At this stage of the game, we just need to figure things out. And this is why this problem is confusing. So originally, our angle started in quadrant 3. If I take half of my angle, this is where all the plus minuses come into play. We need to figure out, is cosine going to be positive or is it going to be negative? Well, when I take an angle in quadrant 3, if I take half of everything, I'm now between pi halves and 3 pi fourths. If you notice, that's in quadrant 2. Our cosine values are negative and our sine values are positive. So in this case, I'm looking for the cosine value of theta over 2. Since I'm looking for a cosine value in quadrant 2, I know my answer must be negative. Okay? Reminder, when we're trying to figure this out, what quadrant it's in, it's always good to keep in mind the all students take calculus idea, where all of our trig ratios are positive here. Sine is the only positive trig ratio in quadrant 2. Tangent's the only positive trig ratio in quadrant 3. And only cosine is the positive trig ratio in quadrant 4. But again, with these problems, we need to figure out not where theta is, like stated initially, we need to figure out where theta over 2 is. All right? And that's something we kind of have to think a little bit about, but all you have to do is take your initial domain, essentially for theta, divide everything by 2, and then look at these angles, and, well, pi halves to 3 pi fourths is in quadrant 2. In quadrant 2, I know sine's positive, cosine's negative, and then you can use that idea to interpret whether your answer should be positive or negative in the end. So that's what you guys are doing on 13.4. The assignments down there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems overall. Again, put some quality time and energy into these. We're not asking for IQs, quizzes, or tests. We're just grading on assignments, so make sure you show your work. If you look at, the assignments, you can kind of see the work that's needed on a problem, so just keep that in mind as you're going through things. Again, if you have any questions, you're welcome to pop into the live sessions or utilize the discussion board as best you can. But we got 4 weeks left, or 3.5. We're almost done with that week 6. So best of luck. Enjoy.